Okay, so today we are reviewing for our quiz, which you have tomorrow. We're going to start. If you can't print this out, here's a piece of paper. I just wrote it out. You can pause the video and create your own right now. Let's say we start with 210 degrees. If we want to go from degrees to radians, we multiply by pi over 180. So if we say times pi over 180. We can cross simplify. If we divide both by 30, then that will give us 6 here and 7 here. So in radians, this is 7 pi over 6. If we want to create a sketch, we will start our initial side on the x-axis, and we're rotating 210 degrees. So that would be 90, 180, and then 30 more to 210. That puts us in the third quadrant. And our reference angle, remember the reference angle is the acute angle formed by the terminal side of your angle and the x-axis right here. So reference angle would be 30 degrees. Let's say on number 2, instead of giving you in degrees, I gave it to you in radians and said 3 pi over 4 radians. Now, when we go from radians to degrees, we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. The pi's are going to cancel. And then we can divide both of these by 4. And 3 times 45 would give us 135 degrees. You should be able to do most of this on your own. You can use a calculator, but I would like you guys to try to simplify these fractions on your own, because in pre-cal next year, the teachers want you to be able to simplify fractions on your own. So now we're going to rotate this 135 degrees, so that's 90, and then another 45 degrees would put us at 135. That's in the second quadrant. And we are 45 degrees away from the x-axis. That is our reference angle. Okay, let's say number 3. I gave you negative 45 degrees. Again, to go from degrees to radians, we're going to multiply times pi over 180. We can divide both of these by 4, and that will give us pi over 4. Negative pi over 4 for our radians. So now let's sketch this. Remember when we are graphing negative angles, we rotate clockwise. So we're going to rotate 45 degrees clockwise. That is in the fourth quadrant, and it is a 45-degree reference angle because we are 45 degrees away from the x-axis. Okay, number 4 is negative 120. So if our reference, if it's negative 120, to go from degrees to radians, we multiply by pi over 180. Okay, we can simplify here by 60. If we divide by 60, that gives us 2/3. So 2 pi over 3. And we can draw our little sketch. Again, negative rotation is clockwise. So it's 90, and then we'd go another 30 degrees. Okay, the reference angle is the angle formed by the terminal side of your angle in the x-axis. So if we rotated 120, then we would have 60 more degrees to get to our x-axis. So our reference angle is 60 degrees, and we are in the third quadrant. Okay, let's look at number 5. On number 5, this is 450 degrees. Now that means that this is going to be more than a circle, more than one full rotation. Let's convert this to radians by multiplying times pi over 180. And when we multiply by pi over 180, we can simplify 45 and 180 by dividing by 90. And that gives us 5 pi over 2. Okay, so now let's sketch this one. So 450, so that means we're going to start at our x-axis and we're going to rotate 90, 180, 270, a full 360 degrees. So if we take away 360, that leaves us with 90 degrees left to rotate. So that would put us right here on our y-axis. And we are 90 degrees away from the x-axis. Okay, number 6. This is 870 degree rotation. So again, to go from degrees to radians, we multiply by pi over 180. And you guys can simplify this one in your calculator if you would like. It will give you 29 pi over 6. Okay, so I'm going to draw a bigger one here. Okay, let's start rotating. So if we start here, that's a full 360 rotation. We still have 510 degrees to rotate. So let's go another 360. So then that gives us another 150 degrees to rotate. So that's 90. And then we would have 60 more degrees to go. Let's use a different color. With this as our terminal side. So remember that the reference angle is the angle made by the terminal side of your angle and the x-axis. It's the acute angle. So it's this angle right here, which is 30 degrees for our reference angle. And that puts us in the second quadrant. Okay, let's do number 7. And let's say I gave it to you in radians, and it is negative 10 over negative 10 pi over 3. So remember to go from radians, 2 degrees, we multiply times 180 over pi. We can cross simplify, and we can divide by 3. And the pi's cancel, that gives us a negative 600 degree rotation. So if we're rotating negatively, remember that we are rotating clockwise. So we will start here, and we'll go a full 360 degrees. Sorry. 0, 4, 2, 4, 0. I can subtract. Okay, so we need to rotate. We've already rotated negative 360, and now we need to rotate another negative 240. So that's 90, 180, and then we rotate from 180 to 240 is 60 more degrees. So right here. Remember, the reference angle again is the angle formed by the terminal side of your angle in the x-axis. So that would be this angle right here. Remember, we went 360, and then we went another 240. So that's 90, 180, and 60 more 240, which gives us a 60 degree reference angle, and that puts us in the second quadrant. Okay, let's do another negative, or let's do number 8. I'm running out of space here where I can write. Let me see if I can move this up a little bit. 1 second. better. Make sure you can still see. Okay, so number 8 would be 630 degrees. So again, you multiply by, to go from degrees to radians, we would multiply by pi over 180. And you can simplify that to get 7 pi over 2. And we did that by dividing by 90. 180 divided by 90 is 2, and 630 divided by 90 is 7. So now we can sketch this. Okay. So that is a full 360-degree rotation. Sorry, that's 13, so that would be a 7. So that's 270 degrees. So we went a full 360, and then we go another 90, 180, 270. So that puts us right here on the y-axis. And remember that the reference angle is the angle formed by the terminal side of our angle and the x-axis, so that would be a 90-degree reference angle. Okay, number 9, let's do negative 550. Or actually, I'll give it to you in radians. It would be negative 55 pi over 18. And then if we multiply that times 180 over pi, then our pi's cancel. We can simplify here by dividing by 18, and that gives us negative 550 degrees. So again, we're rotating clockwise, so that would be 90, 180, 270, a full 360. So we still have another 190 degrees to go. So we went negative 360, and then we go negative 90, negative 180, and then 10 more degrees past that. And remember, the reference angle is the angle formed by the terminal side of our angle and the x-axis, which is this angle right here. And if you remember, we went 360 and then 180, but we wanted to get to 190, which means we're only 10 degrees away from the x-axis. And we are in the second quadrant. Okay, that should get you guys or refresh your memory on that. This quiz will involve all of this. I'll give you some extra practice problems I want you guys to work on, but really what I want y'all to do is the review, which I will post on Schoology. I do expect that you guys take a picture of the review, complete the review, take a picture of it, and submit it on Schoology. Please let me know if you guys have any questions.